Coast guys. So I've never even been to the West Coast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sheltered. He's sheltered, Chris.
Yeah, I guess I've never really been to the East Coast. I've been to New York for like 48 hours.
Okay.
But Chris, you're a rock star. How have you not toured at the East Coast yet?
We just never went northeast. So we've been to like Florida and Georgia.
Yeah.
Virginia or South Carolina, something. One of those coast states.
Right over there.
Both of those are.
We've never hit northeast for some reason. We just never toured that way.
Man,
well, you got to get to Baltimore, man. You got to get into Maryland. That's where we're at.
Do you like crab cakes? You ever had a crab cake?
Yeah, I like crab cakes.
You haven't, but you've never been to Baltimore, so you haven't had like a good crab cake. That's what we're known for. Hey, Chris, your band Fallstar, you're in a band with your brothers, right?
Yeah, with my younger brother Brian, and then Cody and Morgan, who aren't my brothers. Okay. But my twin brother used to play bass with us.
So we do a podcast together. We're brothers. We're not twins, even though we look like it, but we're brothers. And I know how hard it is to be with your brother. So how is that doing it with your brothers?
Well, my twin brother, I don't think he doesn't like working with people, and neither do I. So that's kind of trickier. But then my younger brother Brian is really chill.
Yeah.
And like for the band, like I mostly just do everything. So like, and everybody kind of just trusts what I do. So it's really easy. But before like we have the lineup that we've had for the last 6 or 7 years, it was really, really tough because it was more democratic. Yeah. So it just, things took forever, and like we didn't have like a direction with our music, and things got way more streamlined once we just narrowed it down to be like, okay, I'll pretty much just do everything.
Yeah. So now, do you ever get frustrated, or you prefer to do, it sounds like you prefer to do everything by yourself, but is there ever times where you're like, man, I wish somebody would help me with this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had someone else who had the same exact mindset as you, but could also take things off your plate, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And for this last record, I actually reached out to a bunch of people to like try and help me out with like just bouncing ideas off people and stuff. So it's not like people were writing with me, but I just got to know some more friends in the local area who are doing really cool music. And I just made this text thread with maybe 10 people. And I just was like, hey, I'm sending to this email. Like, let me know your thoughts. And so we did a lot of back and forth that way. And that felt a lot better because the album before was just strictly by myself. Like I'd send it to the band guys, but they'd get back to me every now and then if, you know, sometimes they wouldn't. So it was nice to have other songwriters who are actively pursuing the craft of writing songs to give me feedback.
Yeah. Your newest album is called Sunbreather, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we love it. It's awesome.
It's awesome. Cool.
Actually, I think I told you over email, but when Jameson texts me about it, sometimes he'll text me about bands I'm 35 now, so I don't get into the bands like I used to. But every once in a while text me about a band I don't know, and I was like, I was actually just listening to this album like not that long ago. So every once in a while I was going to like Face Down Records or Tooth and Nail or Solid State, just look at bands and be like, oh, I don't know this band, let me check it out. So I was like, yeah, we'll have them on. But how was that writing process? How long did it take? And you were doing it during COVID, so how did all of that happen?
Yeah, I started trying to write music for the record in 2015. So our last album came out end of 2015. And so while that was in the process of being released, I started trying to write again. And I just couldn't write heavy music. Like it was really hard for me. Like I wrote 63 songs and I ended up keeping one of those for this record, the Get Me Out song. And all the other ones I just scrapped. And like, it was like not just like riffs or something. They were like full song, like skeletons of the songs, but with vocal melodies and music all done. But they just were so horrible. So then I just took a break and I made that Northlander record that Face Down put down. So it's more like emo or rock or something like that. And then I did like a bunch of other projects, and like I have a couple records that I've done like on my board that I could release, but I don't know what I do with them. And they're really cool, but I just don't know if I have the time because it takes forever to put out a record.
Yeah.
So I might just not do anything with them, but it was like I was able to get like those ideas out because I don't just do heavy. And so it was nice to get those out of the way, and then I was able to get more ideas coming.
So,
but the majority of that record was written in like 2019.
Oh, wow.
So this new one, yeah.
So is that exhausting to write that many songs and then not use very many of them? Like now I've never written songs myself. We played music growing up in high school, but I was never.
You're a pastor. You write like 20 sermons a week, and then you only use one of them.
Yeah, right.
Oh, for real?
No way. Absolutely not. You barely write to the one.
To that.
I think Andy Stanley writes his sermon actually.
Yeah. So, but writing that many songs, you said you wrote about 63 songs, and you use one of them on the current record. Does that take so much out of you to write that much music and then feel like, oh, you know what, I just don't like it this way, or I need to change it? You said that they were horrible yourself, which So how is that emotionally draining for you?
In a way, yeah. The actual ideas are always there. Mm-hmm. So like I wake up in the morning and I'm singing a guitar riff or a vocal riff, or like I'm in the shower, like all day long I have ideas. So I'm constantly like saving those as voice memos on my phone. So the ideas themselves come pretty easy, I think, but just sometimes they just don't flow well or something. So I guess it is frustrating if I can't get a winner, and I know a winner pretty quick. Like I can build a song out on my phone before I put it into the computer. But yeah, I guess it's frustrating. The frustrating part is not having one that sticks. Like if you listen to it a week later and you're like, no, this is really garbage. But the idea part and the putting down ideas is not exhausting. Mm-hmm. Like I could do that all day long, and I just I just view them as pretty transient. Like I don't view ideas as my babies. I'm just like, I'll try, hundreds of them. And I think I've probably written and forgotten more songs than a lot of people will ever write in their life. Yeah. And like, it just is part of the process for me. So I don't get attached to ideas.
That's good.
I've done that with guitars lately too. I don't get attached to guitars. I just sell through them. And they've been part of my inspiration lately. So like last year I bought and sold 25 different guitars, but it helps me write different stuff. And then I make a little money, and then it helps pay for other stuff. And yeah.
That's awesome.
What are some of the themes that you hit on Some Breather? I know we were reading an article on HM Magazine, right?
Yep.
Talking about like mental health and
police brutality.
Yeah, police brutality. So
protesting.
Yeah, what are some of the themes that you've hit, and how have you seen people respond to those themes?
Yeah, the first one would probably be mental health, because that was the first song we released talking about that. And I didn't think it would be that weird. I felt like it was destigmatized or something, but I think I was a little out of touch with what a lot of people were thinking. So there was a decent amount of negative feedback about that for mostly Christians, just thinking like you should be trusting God to help with your depression or anxiety or mental health issues, which I thought was a pretty antiquated idea, but I guess it's still pretty prevalent for a lot of the culture. But it was also nice this time around, like a lot of like fans of ours or people who watch our videos would handle the YouTube comments. So I wouldn't really get on that much. And like there was a lot of people explaining really well. And I felt like I kind of stand back, and the community was able to answer a lot of questions well.
That's great.
But there's been a couple people who have messaged me about how singing about that has helped them, which I thought was really cool. And one person just this last week was talking about how like he was always hesitant to try SSRI medicine, and he's been struggling with depression for years and years, and his counselor had been trying to get him on it, and he just was like, no, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to depend on that. And then he said the song really softened his heart to help him try it out, and he's been doing it for like a month and a half now, and he says it's just like a night and day difference. And he was like thanking me for putting that in. So that like warmed my heart. I was like, music helped someone. So like that was really cool to hear. Like that made like a lot of it just worth it for just that one dude to kind of try it out. And then with the social justice stuff, it was just that was more like what I expected. Like there was a decent amount of pushback and then a lot of agreement. So it's kind of like because our music's in the Christian community, so I figured it would be pretty split down the middle, and I think it was. Like,
we were kind of debating this too, and maybe you can chime in on this, but I'm surprised that there's as much pushback for you guys being like a metalcore band. Like, I know it's Christian band, so like you're always gonna have Christian evangelical stuff. I always get that, but I would think most people that are listening to the type of music you're putting out are, maybe I'm being naive, is more like our wavelength of like, with those ideas, or at least being accepting to the idea of it, even if you don't agree with it. Like, we were kind of debating that. I wonder how bad it is, because you're still part of the Christian evangelical world, I guess. But people that I know that are against it the most don't listen to hardcore music. You know what I mean? They were listening to Carmen and DC Talk still. Right. So like, I don't know. I don't know. What do you find that, or do you feel like just the trolls are the loudest, or do you feel like it's pretty split?
Yeah, I would say it's kind of split, just because in Christian hardcore there is the vein of like, heavy worship is like which that is different. But I feel like a lot of the fans that are super into like the hardcore worship type stuff and want your lyrics to be really explicitly Christian or really explicitly worship, a lot of that demographic does want more of the black and white type of thinking around like social justice, or maybe it's not split. Maybe it is. Those people are louder.
I feel like you would know more than me, so don't let me change it.
Yeah, I see like punk rock definitely more the most accepting type version, but I feel like with metalcore and hardcore, it is a bit more black and white than punk to me. I don't know.
And I think that in that scene too, in the metalcore scene, there are people who take hard stances. It's like people are very passionate about what they believe in. And even if you get into like the straight edge community, right? And there are so many people who those communities can kind of blend, where it's a very passionate opinion about what they believe, and there's not much give or take. It's, well, this is the way it is, and this is what I believe. And if it isn't exactly what somebody is talking about, then it can be that friction. And we also are on the East Coast. You're on the West Coast in Portland, which is a two kind of areas where I think that the old school conservative Christian culture is more based in the middle of the country,
or more south,
compared to the coast, where you and I are, where us three all are kind of located. Not that you don't have people of all different walks of faith. So like, that's kind of the culture that we're kind of in, and I know out in Portland too, for sure. But the problem is your music doesn't stay in Portland. You guys are traveling all over the place. So I'm sure that would create some different opinions that you would encounter.
Yeah, it's very apparent, like when we go to like the Midwest. Like there was this one show, it was like I don't know, I don't think it was on 4th of July, but it was like a show that was titled like, it was like Celebrate America or something, or like the America concert.
Nice.
We played on tour, and like it was this band that we were touring with, it was their home show. And like, I kind of thought it was like joking, or like kind of like being funny, like Celebrate America. And so like when we were playing, I was like talking, I was like, it's great to like, the US is awesome and stuff. But like, I was just talking about like, it's higher to have like faith in God over our country. And like, I'm not loyal to the country. I'm loyal to like God, and loyal to like helping others and serving people. And like, it was very like, it was like not good that I said that. And like, even like the previous band members that we had that were on the tour, they like talked to me like, you should not have said that. I was like, I said nothing wrong. Just that cultural difference that like I forget about, or like, the coasts are just different.
Yeah, that's wild. As a pastor, we get that a lot too. I've had people ask me, hey, can you make sure that you display the American flag on stage during church? And the pastor I used to work for, he got that same question. He said, well, if we put the American flag up there, we got to put the flag of every country up there, because it's not just, God doesn't belong to us. So it's crazy, man. It's tough. So pushing through all of that and still getting this record out with I think, very important topics that you all have talked about, and I'm appreciative that you have done that. But how have you seen that? You talked about the one person where the mental health things helped him along the way, but when it comes to the social justice issues, have you had people talk to you and say, hey, this has helped me think through this process a little bit more at all?
No, not explicitly. I kind of don't expect that. I feel like those kind of songs I don't expect them to change people's mind. I feel like those are like little, not breadcrumbs, that sounds like condescending, but like little blips that maybe will heighten someone's awareness for further down the road. Because like I never expect to change someone's mind with something like that. But for people who are aware of that sort of thing or are concerned with that, that'll be like more encouraging for them.
Yeah.
I would hope. But yeah, for people who just disagree or kind of don't really care about that, I hope that it's more of just planting a little seed, or just like maybe that'll come up later and maybe they'll be more receptive to those sorts of ideas or those sorts of compassionate ways of thinking later.
Yeah. Being a musician of like a metalcore band, and I mean a couple other bands, but how does the business of being in a more indie type band, like how are you able to provide for your family and do? Because I remember when we were younger, we would see bands like As Cities Burn or Norma Jean or those kind of bands, and we would think like, oh, they're like that's the dream if we could be like that. And then we would talk to some of them or hear about it and be like, oh, they were like eating for $5 a day. Like they were barely making it and they had to stop because they couldn't afford it. So like, I am always curious of how a band survives and is able to make money and provide for their family being in a band like yours. So how do you do that?
We definitely don't. I feel like we are like part of a group of bands that exists now that couldn't have existed 10 years ago. Yeah. And I have a couple other friends that are in bands that do the exact same thing we do. And some are at a higher level than us, some are lower, but they're still like making good music on a higher level, like that, not like that, like that they can afford the recordings and like the distribution that it's getting out there. But I think it's like digital recording, like how it's cheaper nowadays, how we're able to do that, and how we're able to just go out and play some festivals and not have to be on the road like we used to be. But we don't make any money. Like it all goes back into paying for like some bills that we have as a band or for the next record or something. And we crowdfund all of our albums, and then the label like does all the publicity and stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's why we can't tour, because we were playing for $100 a night for 6 years, or, so we just couldn't do it. Or like you'd be gone for 4 months and then come back with like $1,500, and that'll just go back into the band. So we're able to keep making music just because the fans will help support it, and because we all have regular jobs. Like I shoot wedding films, and that's my whole job. Never like we'll play some festivals this year, and we might do some runs for like 5 days, but we probably will never tour like we used to ever again. But we'll probably be able to make records for the rest of our lives. So it's interesting.
How has COVID changed the way that you all operate as a band then, if anyway?
Nothing. Yeah, we don't even live next to each other. We never practice. And like I kind of like am so tired of practicing like rehearsals and stuff, and like we're so tight because we've played together for so long. So if we have a little run or if we have a festival, we just fly in, we practice for a day straight, and like we have the set list ahead of time, and then we go play, and then we fly home.
Yeah. Wow. When was the last time you played live? It's been a minute because of COVID. So it's been
and even before, I think it was Germany, like when did the pandemic start? Was that 2020?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like March of 2020.
It was like a year ago, like right now.
Okay, so I think October 2019 we played.
Oh, wow.
Last. Yeah.
You need to practice, Chris. You're not gonna be able to just jump back out there.
Yeah, we will. I don't know. It's just like it's more. I don't know. Yeah, there's no way we could practice on a regular basis, and it's kind of fun. Not like it's more fun just getting back together, rehearsing for a day, and going to play and coming back. But the most exciting part about being in a band for me is like live shows are great too, but like I just love writing.
Yeah.
So like it's really hard to push a current record because like I'm already on to the next one, and the writing is the most fun part for me. Yeah. So like I've already written 13 songs for the next record. I don't know how many I'll keep, but it's just like my favorite part of life.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Do you think that the world we live in with streaming and Spotify and those kind of things, does that make it easier for a band like yours to keep going, or does it make it harder? You think it's easier?
Yeah, way easier. Yeah, that's part of us being able to keep going, because like we'll get checks every month from Spotify, and that helps us keep going. And like people buy a CD, like you get $10 once, and then that's it. Whereas like Spotify, you keep getting, whatever 0.08 cents per stream, but like that's for the rest of your career. Granted, you stay relevant, and like you have the Spotify algorithm suggesting your songs from other artists, and it can help keep you relevant. And I'm so thankful that we live in the Spotify world.
Wow. See, that's interesting to hear, because I've heard of so many other bands complain about it.
We had Prejudice 6, Andrew Schwab on.
Yeah.
And he was kind of talking about, but he was saying how Spotify is like killing the music industry.
Yeah, for bands their level, for sure.
I mean, and they did grow up like their albums were like when in the 90s, early 2000s. So back then that was like the height of especially Christian like hardcore metalcore for sure.
Right.
So it is surprising to me.
6,000 records. Was it 6,000? That sounds way too much now. But I think at the height of Truthless Heroes on that first tour they did with it, it was 6,000 records a week.
Oh my goodness.
Insane. So they'll never do that again, of course.
And they were on Atlantic, and for that album, that was considered a flop.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were like, Atlanta was pissed about it.
Yeah. which was wild. So have you guys, has Fallstar gotten into the vinyl game at all? Because I know that some bands that's another, with so many vinyls coming back and so many people now are because I know for us for a while, because we used to play in a band back in high school and stuff like that, but we loved going to concerts all our entire lives. And so, but then when Spotify came out, we were like, oh wow, this is way cheaper for us. But then I also felt bad about not supporting bands that I liked as much. It's like they're not seeing as much money from me that they typically would have. Then when vinyls came back, I was like, oh great, this is a way to again support bands like Fallstar and like other bands who I know it would help. So
who's the band we just discovered that was a Face Down record band? Oh shoot, it's gonna bother me.
Atlas?
Yeah. Atlas, that was Face Down.
Yeah.
We just figured them out, and they're not even a band anymore, right? So so that kind of stuff.
And we both just bought their vinyl like a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, the new repressing. Yeah, that's awesome.
But how does the vinyl game work for you guys?
This is our first vinyl we've ever pressed for this one. It's back ordered like crazy. I feel bad because the record's been out a month and we still have a month to go till the vinyl gets here.
Yeah.
But we were going to release our record in December, and we ordered the vinyl back in October. And since COVID, everybody's been pressing vinyl. So it's going to be 6 months, October to end of March, early April is when we're going to get it.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
That was,
So why does it take that long? Because that's happened to me many times where I bought a vinyl and it took months after the release. I bought Tiger Wine a long time ago, and it was it was like 6 months after it came out that I got the vinyl. I was like,
wow.
It was a long time. I don't know if it was that long. It felt like 6 months, but it was long. It was months for sure. But I remember even emailing and be like, hey, where is it? So why does that process take so long for the people that listen that get mad at bands for not having the vinyl in time?
I don't know. I mean, I think a factory burned down this last year because there's not very many. And I think there's one here in the U.S., but most of the packages are made, or the vinyls are pressed, I think it's in Europe. Like almost all the vinyl companies go through one factory. But
every vinyl goes through that one company or that one factory?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There's like only a few factories, and all the companies, all the vinyl vinyl companies go through the same manufacturers. Yeah. So it's very small. And I think with COVID, just everything got really, really delayed.
Yeah.
I think there was something about ours had to be here on a boat instead of flown this time for something. I don't know. But I think with the next record, I just want to have everything in hand before we release it. That would just be a nice treat, because I feel like I see it all the time. Everybody's constantly waiting for vinyls.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know why, but we're happy that we can finally get a vinyl. And I think last year was the first year that vinyl overtook CDs in sales, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
And like, I don't buy CDs. I haven't bought a CD in forever. I've bought digital music, but not that much. But then this year I've started getting into vinyl, and it's just fun.
Do you regret not getting into vinyl sooner like I do? Because now I have all these CDs that are collecting dust. I wish I had vinyls more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
So is that a really good way to support Fallstar and other bands like you by buying vinyls?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's more fun because, like, when a band sells out of a variant, then you can press a new variant, and that gives more opportunities for sale, because, like, maybe someone wants all the variants of the one band, or like you have like people who are like just completionist collectors, so they want everything from it. And like, that's fun for them, and it's fun for the band to see it sell out, and then you can repress it in a different way or do like a box set or something like that.
That's awesome.
And
that's
point of sale is way higher than like a CD. Well, actually, I don't know if that's true, because CDs you can make for like $1. So actually, I don't know about that. But
but
it's
buy something. And stream it at the same time.
Use the CDs for use the vinyl at home and then stream in the car. That's why vinyl's better than CD too, because you put a CD in the car.
Just buy a vinyl, but never listen to it. Only listen to Spotify. But buy the vinyl still. Chris, one more thing we want to do before you get you out of here. We do this with all of our guests. We play a game called This or That. Okay, so we're going to give you two options, and you tell us we have a running tally going of our This or That's on how many people have said it. We just kind of started not that long ago. I think Shane's boy Kevin was the first one to do it.
Kevin Sorbo.
He was a blast with it. Anyways, so we'll go pretty quick, and you just tell us which one you think out of the two options. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, Chris. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
All right. Obviously.
Cali Mochos, like red wine and Coke is the best thing ever.
Early or late? Like, you get up early or stay up late?
Yeah, always late.
Yeah, you're a band guy. You got to be up late.
There's
no option for you.
I'm like always up late, but I have to be up early because my kids are horrible sleepers.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
I have a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and 8-month-old.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you're not getting any sleep.
Yeah.
No, it's horrible. And like the oldest one is autistic, and we have not been able to nail down his sleep. So we're on new meds right now.
Oh, geez, yeah.
So we're hoping for just anything later than 5 would be great.
5, jeez.
Like, I feel like I'm gonna go insane and lose my mind at an early age from sleep deprivation. Like, I don't know if you can get like dementia or something, but I'm very afraid of that.
Cake or pie?
Pie.
Obviously, man.
Yeah.
Chris, yeah, you're right on our wavelength. Chris, when you do tour in Baltimore, we'll take you to a place called Dangerously Delicious Pies, the best pies you'll ever have on Shane, and we'll get you a crab cake. Okay?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that sounds
you
awesome.
Let us know. You let us know.
Sweet or salty?
Salty.
All right. Tea or I already said that. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Life or Monopoly?
Oh, Monopoly.
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually, you're only the second person to say Monopoly.
What? Really?
It's too long, Chris. You don't have all day. You gotta sleep.
You got 3 kids, Chris. You can't play Monopoly.
You got time to play Monopoly?
There's just a lot on the line with Monopoly.
Yeah,
that's what's
true.
so big. Like, it's just like adrenaline pumping.
Yeah.
You get really pissed or really happy.
Yeah.
Dogs or cats?
Oh. No, you need both.
Well,
you absolutely need both.
But you can't pick both. You got a big one.
I mean, I would do dogs, but our cat died this last summer, and our house needs that cat energy.
Okay.
We need them both.
That's
unique,
fair.
Unique cat dog.
Yeah.
Cat dog.
And last one, breakfast or dinner?
Dinner.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's good. I agree with most of your answers there, Chris. so that's a good thing.
You know what?
Yeah, we should hang out.
Yeah.
Not a single person has said cake yet.
Yeah, obviously.
No one said
Cake's
cake.
so dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a 5-year-old would say cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're adults.
All right, Chris, let everybody know how they can find out more about you, about your band, your albums, whatever you want to promote. Let them know.
Yeah, you can go to @Fallstar Music on Instagram. And then I think it's Fallstar Music on Facebook as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then Facedown Records is our label that put out this album, but also Rat Family Records is the crowdfunding mechanism to fund the recording part of that. So I run Rat Family Records, and we just do Indiegogo Kickstarters to pay for the recordings. So ratfamilyrecords.com, and you'll just see us post about that. So if you see Rat Family Records, that's what we're doing. We're trying to raise money for another album.
Awesome.
And I think that's it. You can look at our Wikipedia, but it's kind of wrong in a lot of places. I'm trying to figure out how to update that. But I've tried before, and it just switches back, so I don't know.
Oh. You're like, I started the band.
It talks about like this dispute we've had with Facedown Records. I was like, there's never an argument. But I can't change it.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking out this clip of Not Your Mama's Christian Podcast. You know the drill. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. You can find the whole episode anywhere you get your podcast. You can also follow us on social medias, or you can do none of it. What do we care?